Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 7th and 8th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
The thing about getting spots on your glasses is that you have to take your glasses off to see the spot, and without your glasses, you can't see the spot.
You can't see them.
Yeah, so
you
it's
need a second pair of glasses. So
this has been a Sunday Minute with Andy Rooney.
That's funny.
Or just stick them in the dishwasher.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've never done that.
No, don't do that.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, Tommy would not mislead me. I've known him for years and years and years, and I don't think he would mislead.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it. Well, first put it in the microwave.
I think he would if it made him laugh.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday on this August the 11th, 2024. I'm your host, I'm Roller Man, and I'm joined by Mr. Mike W. Belcher, that man in the mess guy. Say hi, Mike.
Howdy.
Who's responsible for tonight's topic? So if you don't have any fun tonight, blame him.
It's his fault. Exactly. Blame this guy.
Although we always have a good time with Mike's topics, so I don't.
We do. I don't see how that's going to be possible either. Yeah, we are also joined on the other side of Mike by Mr. Tom Mason, Mr. Roadblock.
That's right. I'm the Roadblock to small publishing.
He's the one that says, "I'm not printing your book."
That's right. Make this better.
Make it better.
Also joined. Sometimes I feel like we're on the what was that game show that had all the squares?
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares. Yeah, I was going to say tic tac toe, but
what's that Hollywood game show with all the squares?
With all the squares, Hollywood something. Yeah.
Mr. Roberta Conroy, Color Supreme for Silverline's Cat and Mouse Vipers.
Hello, everyone.
Is that what we're going to be seeing a little bit of tonight? Roberta?
Yes, I'm doing it soon.
Yay, I'm so excited about that.
I know. It's exciting.
And last but not least, Mr. Thomas Flormani Jr., all-around comic nerd.
Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're at.
That's right.
Y'all.
Because I'm sure we have so many from on the other side of the globe. That,
Well, I just in case Pete is paying attention, it is late night, early morning for him.
That's right.
Yeah, Pete's just now turning over one good time.
I know he's still sleeping.
Yeah. Pops drops in always at the top of the stream. Says, if you like what we do and want to join Madness Entertainment Group, contact us. There's the contact information there. Reach out to the Madness Network. Pop says, hey, yo.
We need to get Pops on sometime just to talk to us the process to get a Roku channel.
Well, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. See,
I actually.
All right, I'm done. Bye.
Is that your one good idea for the week, Tommy?
For the month. The one good idea for the month.
He's done.
I actually, I occasionally try to recruit folks for the network, right? I meet someone or I see someone, know someone who I see does a stream, and I'm like, they need more exposure. And so I'll reach out to them and say, we've got a network going on. Dustin, you guys know Dustin. Several of us have been on Dustin's, have been interviewed by Dustin. And those of you who haven't, plan to be. He does the Thunder Masters of the Thunder Nerds. You guys probably see him pop up sometime.
He's popped up in the comments.
And he also was your student at some point.
Yeah, he was. He is a former student of mine.
And now he's become the master.
That's right. He is the master. So and he is pretty awesome. So if you're interested in doing that, if you stream, if you have anything you think that you would like to do on a weekly basis, heck, I think Mike should get on and do at least a 30-minute weekly Man in the Mask thing. I think that would be great, Mike.
That'd be great.
Maybe.
It doesn't have to be long. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah. Only has to be long enough to monetize.
That's right. Yeah, just kind of a regular thing. You can pick out a time slot. Pops has the master schedule. I don't know it. The only thing I've said is, Pops, don't give up our time slots.
No.
It's like, this is what we're used to.
It would be good. It'd be a man. I know it's a lot of work, but a Man in the Mask audio drama.
Oh,
that's the dream.
Cool?
That's the dream.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, because you could do a lot with vocals and you could do a lot with sound effects to create that atmosphere.
I'm gonna have to point Tom to some of y'all remember when we did those the Masterwork Theater that we did.
Oh God, they were so bad.
I've got to point Tom to those, and we may have to do another one with Tom here. We need to make an all-star one. Right? We need to get Brent. We need to get Pete, who did a hilarious French accent.
On you.
That was bad. I remember I had to be Yoda or something, and I kept taking all the words and flipping them around backwards just to talk.
They got a little silly. Pop said some of the shows are 10 to 20 minutes long, so
there you go.
They don't have to be long at all. So, well, Tommy and I got a little brief con report to give you. Yesterday, he and I did Infinity Toy and Comic Con in Kissimmee, run by Mr. Louie and his awesome family. It was a fantastic show. It was super busy there, certainly around lunchtime. And all the folks in there in Kissimmee came out to see us. We shared parking lots with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I didn't know if you were going to bring that up or not. Every time I do that show, I get so confused. I pull up and there's like a million cars in the parking lot, and I'm like,
and we think, oh my gosh, this is going to be so big. The line must be out the door.
And then you see people getting out of the car and they're all dressed up really
ties
nice,
on,
and you're like, they're not going to a comic show.
This is a Comic Con from the 1950s. This is where they're going.
No, it's a. I guess it's. We were trying to figure it out. Now we're going to show our ignorance. It was. We don't know if it's once a week, once a month, once a year. Just so happens to be the same day that the show's on. So it's got to be. It's a Saturday thing, but it's a Jehovah's Witness.
And me and you and Jose, who were all three of us.
Oh yeah, we were
we probably spent 30 minutes theorizing why they were there on that day.
Yeah, there was million people. It's probably everybody in Florida that's a Jehovah's Witness was at the.
We won't repeat some of the theories that we came up with.
No, Jose came up with
Comic-Con without the comics.
Right, exactly, yeah. But man, they were going in with suitcases and coolers and.
Oh yeah, they would because they got there about 9, right? And then they were pulling in big ice chests of stuff, and we're like, "How long is church? What is this? How long they stay?" And then when we left, got loaded up at 6, 7 o'clock or whatever, you saw them pulling out with all of this stuff, and it's like they were there all day.
They were, yeah, that's right. We got to also see Teen Beetle creator and writer John Crowther, who was there with
in John Jr.
and German John. Yeah.
German John.
John has been, I guess, for the past 7 or 8 years now.
Yep.
John has been hosting international students at his home.
Cool.
Yep. He does that, as far as I know, does it during the school year. He's had them from Germany, from Spain.
He had a kid from Germany this time.
Yeah.
And he walks up and he goes, "I want to introduce you, Tommy, to German John." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
That's like a Kirby character.
Right? Yeah.
He said it. I didn't make it up. Usually I'm the one that sounds like I'm making up bad crap, but that was him. He said that.
Yeah. But the kid was real nice. He was like, we don't have any of this kind of stuff in Germany. And of course I really, really resisted any, World War II jokes or anything like that. Even though I thought about them.
He's a kid though.
I know he is.
Yeah, it's his fault, Roland.
He wasn't born in the 1900s like you were.
No.
Yeah.
1900s. Where's
back
Vic,
in your
right?
day?
No, it would have been for him. Would have been like great grandpa, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So
he was a nice guy.
Even Mike Myers would be too old for him. You couldn't even do the sprockets. You probably wouldn't even understand that.
Did you help me put my wristband on because
did he like any comics?
Figure it out.
You know what? I'm not sure if he came away with any. I didn't see. Did you, Tommy? I didn't see if he picked any up.
No, he pretty much sat at the table. Every time I looked over there, he was just sitting there.
I know it was a new experience for him.
I think he was thinking it was kind of weird. He's like, why is there 15 different Deadpools walking around?
I think part of it was like, why are these adults dressed up like this?
Yeah.
So
this was a relatively larger, large venue that it was in. It's pretty good sized show. So so there was a lot of costume folks. They had a costume contest where it sounded like they were hooting and hollering. They were doing it on the other side of the room.
You didn't give the kid a free comic?
We should have. God,
we
suck really bad.
You guys are terrible at spreading the message of comics to international students.
I know.
Well, we did have
I don't know if he reads English. Do German folks read English?
Did he speak it?
Yeah. I know. I'm just being stupid.
It's the second most popular language in the world, or something like that.
I think so. I think they speak it on the moon.
It's the number one second language.
Right.
It's not the number one first language. It's the number one second language.
Yes.
Because all these other first language people speak English as a second language.
So when they come over to America and they meet Roland and Tommy, they can ask for a free comic.
Well, so when I started teaching, the first classes that I taught were English as a second language at the university, and it was in Alabama, and we used to laugh because these the kids were smart that was coming over, they just didn't speak English. It was funny because
and now they speak Southern.
Well, it's funny because they watch all these videos. Well, that's it. They watch all these videos, and these videos are like, "Hi, how are you? My name is John." They get off the plane in Alabama and say, "How y'all doing?
Hey, y'all.
G-Jet?" G-Jet. I remember having that conversation in a class. What is G-Jet?
Sorry.
That's like that opening scene in Stripes where Harold Ramis is teaching English as a second language.
It is. Do run, do run.
Come on, tell me, what is G-Jet?
What? G-Jet?
Did you eat yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
G-Jet.
Yeah, did
you eat yet?
Got it.
Yeah. I walk in the door at Kablam and say, "Hey, G-Jet?
Eat yet? Yeah, let's go over yonder to eat."
Tommy's like, "Nah, you want to grab a burger?"
Isn't it true that so much of Southern language is just compression?
It is.
Yes.
Sounds like it.
It's so hot.
jam
I
it
got
all
no
together.
time for lots of words. I'm just gonna make my sentence as small as possible.
That's right. Yep. No time. No, we're not gonna mess with words. Come on.
Right. We don't have time for small talk. Let's eat.
That's right.
Yeah, my dad said skeet for let's go eat.
It says
That's
what?
funny. Skeet.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
What is that
Let's go eat.
combination?
Let's go eat. Yeah, they
Let's
just
go
said skeet.
let's
Right?
go
It's really funny.
You've taken 3 syllables down to 1. You've
Efficiency.
bought yourself some extra time.
Well, that reminds me of the comedian, and I would credit him if I could remember his name. But he talked about the English language and the changes that we get in the English language. He said, it changes and our language is shortening.
Tim,
said, at one point in time, we greet someone on the street, we would say, good evening. And then next thing you know, we say,
the guy that slams the.
Would you shut up and let me tell my story?
Yeah, you remember yesterday? Payback. Don't make me cuss.
And then he says, what's up? Next thing next generation says, sup. He said, next thing you know, they're just going to be going.
No.
It already is that.
Right.
That's what I love about the language, though. It's so fluid and it's so, it's wonderfully fascinating how the language changes and evolves and how each generation comes up with brand new slang.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
They have to embarrass their parents somehow.
Well, it's only us because we keep insisting that they speak like ye old Englishmen
properly,
right?
And speak properly. And it's like, but it's not. It's more because my kids talk like cartoon characters sometimes.
Yeah,
if you listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and of course they also they pick up on the internet language so quickly.
Oh yeah,
skibbity, right? Brett and I were talking about skibbity the other day. I said, "What the heck is skibbity?" He goes, "Dad, it could mean several different things."
That's when you turn around and go, "Son, it means nothing. So quit it."
Skibbity. I watch it. I follow a guy on TikTok who is a high school teacher, and once a week he gives 5 or 6 slang words and their definitions, and he uses them in a sentence, and it's really good.
Yeah,
Tom, I should forward that to you. You would like.
You should. They're doing a skibbity toilet movie,
Well, there's a really bad song that I won't force on you guys called Skibbity Bop.
No, don't.
No, don't do that.
No,
we don't need that.
It's so bad. I've probably sent it to Tommy before. All right. Anyway,
wait, I got one more about the show.
Okay. All right.
So we were lucky enough. I mean, you go to all these shows all the time. So we were sitting next to 2 young ladies that that has a products that we may try to let's see. Here's their card. I don't know if you guys want to look at it right there. They can do vinyl wraps, but then they can do all these things. So I bought 3 of these tumblers. Yeah, if we can see them. There we go. I'll sit so we can see.
Great.
You wrap it around the glass.
That looks
nice.
crap. I don't know why.
I like it.
Oh, can you see it? Hold on. I'm going to turn off
your background.
Let me turn off
but I do
the
see
virtual background so maybe it'll show better. How do I do that? Do background. If you see something in the background that's not supposed to be there. There we go. So let me turn this light on here so you can see.
That's your characters. Yours and Renee's.
Yeah, it's the little nice story, but they're tumblers, right? And they look nice. They look like something that you'd buy right out of the Walmart or whatever. Yeah. And so I got one for the little name. So, yeah, and then I got I did 3. I did the Zomboy one.
So cool,
man. Yeah, that is cool.
And then they're nice too. They're not like stickers on there, so that they use dye sublimation to so they can put any of our images on any of these things. And then I did my group shot that you guys see a lot, the Zomboy Kid Hero thing group shot, and they're nice. I mean, they're really great things. Yeah, it's just
in the dishwasher.
Yeah, they're absolutely. Yep, and it comes with a straw and all that kind of stuff. But but we were talking to them, so we may try to offer those up in the next couple of Kickstarter kind of things. We'll try to figure out what we can do to. I'm gonna turn
maybe mine. I would like
that. Would be very cool. We got to figure out what we can do as far as what the price would be, what we can offer. And
it's just because it's a weird shipping size thing. So I mean, we're like most Kickstarters are.
It won't fit the Gemini.
Yeah, you try to stick something, whatever your extra thing is. You're trying to make it so it fits in the same envelope, so that way we don't have to charge crazy shipping prices. So these would have to be shipped separately. So have a separate price on shipping.
I got a guy that makes gold coins. So
really? That could be fun.
I do have, and they'll fit in an envelope.
Yes, they will. And that's the perfect kind. This is a great segue into the topic for tonight, which is small press publishing roadblocks, right? Finding things that will fit into the envelope that you're already going to ship for your comic, I think is important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is our topic tonight. We are going to talk about small press publishing roadblocks. As Mike was saying kind of before we went live, is that sometimes there are frustrations when you're a small press outfit, whether you're just a one-person show or a couple of people or whatever, when you don't have all that corporate money behind you, sometimes it can get frustrating because there are things that you want to do. You're like, oh, if I could just do this, or if I just had the money to do this.
All the time when it's just you just don't have enough, even if it's something that's relatively inexpensive, like getting stickers made or whatever. That's relatively cheap. You still got to design the thing and then ship it and get it over, and so it still takes a little bit of time.
That's why you got to have a lot of kids, like farmers in the 1800s, where you just have like 15 kids. You put them all to work. All right, you're gonna sell envelopes. You're gonna.
The guy who runs the show yesterday, that's what he all of his kids. He had like 10 or 15 kids running around there. He is, and they work the show for him.
Yep,
great kids, by the way.
If you're gonna have a lot of kids, you got to put them to work.
That's right. It's kind of an American tradition, isn't it?
Yeah, that farm.
That's right. So anyway, So Mike, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You wanna start us off? What's a frustration that you have as Mike W. Belcher, that man in the mask guy?
It's like Tommy says. My biggest frustration is time.
Yeah.
You can do pretty much. You can fit anything doable into your budget. But time is something, especially if comics aren't your main thing, which who right now can.
Right.
Time wise, before your day's over with, you're looking at, all the stuff you want to do opposed to what you have to do, which is make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have to figure out, you have to actually take that extra step and budget that time. Especially for me, drawing and inking.
Yeah, you're still trying to make the product.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So there's the frustration. There's, that's something that doesn't cost a thing. It's more of a productivity thing. It's more of a trying to figure out how do I fit this into it and the ways that I've done it. And it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. It's like it's like I can draw on the couch at least. So if I can get so much done during the day, at least at nighttime I can draw on the couch, and at least I'm progressing a page at least.
Yeah, and
as far as plus budgeting things,
and you're not keeping yourself away from your family by at least you're in the living room,
exactly,
4.5 watching TV and having a conversation with your family.
Yeah,
I think that's what's worked really well for me, and to continue to keep doing this stuff is I learned how to do all my inking and drawing and stuff in the living room.
Yeah.
I don't have a art room anymore. I used to, but I there was no need to, because I do it all in the sitting next to Renee in the living room while we're watching TV.
It's funny because I know so many people who are like, oh, I got to have absolute quiet. I got to have noise canceling headphones, and I got to have this, I got to have that, and I got to have this perfect like yoga like retreat environment, whatever. Like I work in a mess. It's like I've had cats, I've had dogs, I've had kids, I've had a wife, I've had all these people running through the house, asking me dumb questions. It's like no one cares that Tom or Dad or whoever is working. It's like, you know, you got to figure out how to work in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the key. You got to figure it out, right? If it's something that you want to do, you got to figure it out. I used to have a college buddy of mine, and one of the things, we talk about money in college. That's always a concern. And we were having a conversation about a new album one time. And I said, "You gonna get the new album?" He goes, "No, I don't think I'm gonna get that one." Right? He goes, "I don't have any money." Well, the very next week, something else came out, and he bought it. And I was like, "Well, I thought you said you didn't have any money." He goes, "Well, you know how it is when you don't have any money. You find the money for the thing that you really want."
Right.
And I'm like, there's so much truth behind that. And I think a lot of that is can be applied to making comics as well. It's like, you know what? All these people say, I don't have any time. It's like, well, how do you really want to do it, or you just want to talk about doing it?
Yeah.
When I think
I don't realize that's not, I mean, there, as Mike
There's
mentioned,
limits, though.
yeah, there's limits. You got a job, you got to work your job.
Yeah.
But I think, you watch, less television. Don't watch
What?
TV. I know. Tom's
What's
a TV guy, right?
television?
oh my God, stop saying that. Stop
How
cursing.
about, how about learn to do your comic stuff while you're watching TV?
Well,
Exactly.
see,
Can't do that,
I
though.
hear
Yeah, I
you.
can do it.
I feel you. As a writer, I can't do that.
I could
can't-
if I was writing. If
I
I
can't
had to do
watch
some
and write.
coding or something.
Yeah,
to
writing's
stuff,
different.
I can't do that.
Completely.
Yeah,
I got
I
to be
think-
thinking.
I think one of the ways you make extra time is you have to sort of do the research and plan ahead of time. Like if you're an artist and you're doing a drawing, you got to figure out, can I reuse this drawing for 6 or 7 different things? Can this be my sticker? Can this be my poster? Can this be my flyer? Can this be my promotional ad? Can this be my diamond thing? Can this be whatever? So that you only have to draw it once.
Yes. Well,
And then it's easier to repurpose it.
And I absolutely love that idea, because one of the things that we've been able to do is when you can catch that early, right? Like
Right.
I can holler at Roberta and say, "Hey, Roberta, you see this cover here? Can you just do the main figure as a cutout?" And Roberta's like, "Yeah, I'll just make it a layer."
Right.
And it's so easy then to just
Grab it.
blank out
Once
everything
you get-
else. Yeah, and then I got I got the thing
and
that I
like-
need.
Like Tommy shows up at a con and there's these people wrapping cups with art or whatever.
Right.
And Tommy's got 3 pieces of art all ready to go. He doesn't have to
Right.
He doesn't have to race home and draw stuff.
No,
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
when I saw them, I'm like, what do I have access to right
Right.
now? And I'm like, Tom, you're funny, because I was thinking, oh, I just sent Tom a bunch of PDFs. They're still online. I know where they're. So I was like, where are they? Where are they? Where? And I went back and looked at our post,
Here we
our
go.
thing, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I
nice.
know where I stuck them. And then so I was able to get internet access and find those files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Nice.
sort of the key. I mean, if you didn't have that stuff, I mean, you didn't plan ahead for that kind of thing, but you're
Mhm.
ready for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just
Exactly.
went through and found ones that would work good for this particular product. Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are listening to the audio version, sorry that you don't get to see what we're seeing on the screen right now. But
Yeah.
Roberta, can
Coming up.
you tell us just a little bit about what we're seeing you color on the screen right now?
We got Cat and Mouse, our main characters, and they are suited up, ready for action, jumping across one to another buildings. So I thought that was cool. And
Is
we
it-
have
is that
a
a
very
big-
evil big snake villain that is stealing a child right out of his own
Matching up
bedroom.
a kid.
How
Mm,
dare
Snakes, you
he,
can't
so.
trust him.
No, you
those
can't
snake,
trust a
those
snake.
snake creatures.
Now, Roland, did you
Yes.
write this?
I did write this.
Oh.
Yep. And so
And
this
the art people are
Angelo Conception, who is a recent Kubert School grad, is the penciler, and it is inked by Jose Fuentes.
Woohoo.
We'll
Yeah.
notice that Roberta is doing 2 things at once. She's participating in the show and actually coloring.
That's right. Yeah,
Did you figure out a way?
she's working and
She's
she's
figured out a
working
way.
as colors. And
You know
she's
why?
doing
Because I'm not looking at you guys.
Oh, you need to look
That's
at us, Roberta. Look
So-
how handsome we
Consider
all are.
yourself
You're-
lucky.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
I'll
on the same page, but
I'll
you
put
know,
Roberta right in the
minimized.
middle so we can look at her.
There you go.
yeah. But if I had to look at the camera the whole time, I couldn't do much.
David Ace Gutierrez, thank you so much for joining us. He says, great panel. Yeah, sorry,
Well, I
Tom.
don't
It's
know.
cool, isn't it?
Huh.
The drawing is really nice on this.
Yeah. Angelo is. That's why you guys.
I couldn't remember Angela's name when I was
yeah.
asked by Barb last time, so I felt bad.
No, that's okay. He's
remember
a young,
after.
he's new. He's a young guy.
love
He's
his
a rookie.
work.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
great.
Yeah,
It's great.
Even though we didn't draw the tire on the back on the front end of that
Yeah.
truck the other day.
What?
The one back-
What? Wait,
on
what?
that.
Roland
He's
Roland
making
wasn't here
fun of
last
the
week.
bleed. He's
We had a
making
long
fun of the
discussion.
fade out in the corner
That's
of the
not what it
page.
was.
It's
You just didn't draw it.
ridiculous.
And
No,
you didn't fix it.
I
missed
didn't need to
that.
fix it. I will show you later.
Okay. This is the next story of that Cat and Mouse will be in. They're going to still be tackling human trafficking, but this time they're gonna tangle with some nasty snake creatures that are stealing kids like snakes steal eggs.
Mhm.
So
You hate to see that.
you do.
Yeah.
You gotta put a stop to it. That's what Cat and Mouse are going to try to do. Put a stop to that. So
People should traffic snakes, not kids.
That's right. Oh, wait a minute. We're in Florida. We know that's exactly what they do.
It sucks.
I got a story about
Pythons.
traffickers.
Oh no.
I don't think I can tell.
Okay.
Maybe
Boy.
So I'll go next. One of the things that I think is a roadblock is money, right? Obviously that's a big one.
Sure.
And but I think having been involved in the industry for many years, I've seen the technology change, and I mean look at what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
We couldn't have done this in 1988 when I got started, or 1990s when we were at Malibu. This is this wasn't available
because FedEx was killing you back then.
Oh man, I just can't. I think about some of the stuff now, and I'm like, how in the world did we pay all those FedEx bills? And you had minimum print runs you had to do. Print on demand. Of course, everyone who watches the show knows we use Kablam. Print on demand, though, has been a godsend for small press companies because for those who don't know, I won't go into great detail, but when you use traditional printing, the setup to print is so much that the printer makes you buy a minimum number of copies. Okay. Now, in 1997, 98, 99, when I was doing black and white Silverline Comics back in those days, that minimum print run was 3,000 copies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual printing is cheap. It's the setup that costs so much money.
Right. And so what they would do is you would be charged for that. The more copies that you would print, the cheaper it got per unit, right? So if you could print 10,000 copies, and I'm just going to use round numbers, at 3,000 copies, it's going to cost you back then. It cost you about $1, $1.15, $1.20 per unit, right? In black and white, yeah. At 10,000 copies, you could get that cost down to 50 to 60 cents.
Yeah, because they turn that machine on and you go, whoop, 5 minutes later, 10,000 books are printed.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have to stop the machine to put another thing on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so but for a small press, right, you think, oh, well, that's not a bad, that's 50, 60 cents is great. Yeah, but to do that, you got to, order 10,000 copies. And so a lot of times you're looking at the minimum print run for a traditional printer. And so you're looking at, 3,000 copies. Now, our orders, Silverline's orders back in that time varied from about 1,200 to about 1,800, right? So Tom's already laughing because he's like, yeah, you had all these books in your garage, didn't you?
You did.
I had stacks of books in my garage because I had to print 3,000 copies.
Yeah.
That means I had at least 1,000 books of each
Then
of
you
those.
got to go sell them.
And more than likely, you got more than 3,000 when they were done because the guy sat there and sneezed, and then another 500 books printed, and he had to.
Well, the biggest roadblock then is that you need a garage. Like
storage, yeah.
If you have an apartment, forget it. You're not going anywhere.
No, absolutely not. And of course, some people say, well, you'll sell those. You're absolutely right. You will sell some of those
Eventually.
but
giving
1,000
away a bunch.
copies? Nah, you sell anywhere from 3 to 20 copies at a show, right? I feel fortunate if I can sell, unless it's a brand new thing that people are looking for. I sell pretty fortunate if I can sell 3 copies of a thing at a show, right? Yeah. Like at this last show, I sold 2 complete sets of cat and mouse and 1 complete set of trumps, and then some spotted other things, right? So print on demand comes along, right? And the beauty is I don't have to print 3,000 copies. Yeah. The price per unit goes up considerably, right? You can't.
Yeah, the setup is basically zero.
Right.
It's a total flip the other way around. Yeah.
Someone has to send, but correct me if I'm wrong here, Tom. They got to send you the file in good order.
But they had to be prepped right before the traditional way too. So that part's still the same. The prepping part, you got to do something a little different. But the prepping is the pre-press work is still the same. Right. Yeah. It's just the setup is where the difference is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can print, if you only like using the 90s Silverline model, 1,200, 1,800 copies, right? You can print 1,200 copies if that's what gets ordered. You can print exactly that and not have to put 1,800 copies in your garage. You don't make as much money per unit on it. So
then you go to a con and everyone wants your book, and what do you do?
Well, you can print more at any time.
Yeah. Yeah. You can ask Tommy.
Better, right?
What I will do sometimes is I say, hey, Tommy, we've got a show coming up. Can you print 10 copies of? I make an order. I don't just ask him, right? But I'll like, hey, I need 10 copies of Cat and Mouse number 1, 5 copies of number 2. I only need 1 copy of number 4, right? And I'll place that order, and then I literally just get a handful of copies to take what I need. I don't have to order 100 copies of everything, and that is really nice.
We keep everything on file, so it's
so your garage then is the Kablam server.
It's just absolutely right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely right. So that's one thing as far as that goes. For me, the other thing about money would be advertising. Right. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of things that I think of. Well, this would be neat to do, but for instance, a diamond ad, and we're not gonna discuss the pros and cons of diamond. It is what it is, right? It is the distribution method right now, but it's expensive to buy a full page ad in diamond. We would have to sell. I can't remember what it is. Tommy, you look like you're looking something up.
No. I was trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to remember how much it was. It's been a while since I've looked, but it's very, very pricey to buy an ad in the Diamond catalog. The last I looked, it was about $1,000. Somebody says, "Oh, $1,000, that's not that bad." Do you know how many comics we have to sell?
Yeah.
Is it
worth buying the ad?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, you're trying to get more people to buy the book, so it's worth doing it if you've got the money to invest in it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if you're looking at it, if you're looking at it as I got to try to make some of this money back with the advertisement, you got to sell a lot of books for that $1,000 ad.
And it's got to be something that you can, really hype and justify, like, comic by Tom Mason. You want to bring somebody's attention to something that you've got multiple listings in 1 month, and you want to bring one to somebody's attention. That would be the justification of paying for an ad like that.
I think we all know that my name sells books.
So, there you go.
Well, it's like anything. Your name has you've got recognition for a thing, and there is certainly a group of people out there who know who you are. So
yes,
the problem is, number one, trying to get those people aware of it. Number two, trying to get the people who don't know who you are to care.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
why you have to build a brand. Yep. You have to be you have to sort of be, outspoken and out there and networked and, appear on shows and go to conventions and make friends and don't be a jackass. I failed at that, but
That should be a bumper sticker.
Yeah, but you're lovable, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny what you say. I used to, in my class several years ago, once a month I would have an industry writer on. At the time, I think I had you on.
I was there.
Come talk to my class. And the one thing that was kind of universally said with all of, in different words, right? Not the exact same words, but the exact same meaning was, don't be a jerk. It's like, nobody wants to work with a jerk, right? People want to work with people that they like and they get along with. And so don't be a jerk.
Because if you're working, I mean, this is true certainly in television, and this is true in comics, which are a group setting. I mean, the chances are you're going to be working with, this group of people for 6 months, 8 months, a year, maybe. Yeah. And you don't want to, comics especially should be fun. You don't want to sort of dread going, oh my God, I got to talk to Derek again. It's like, no.
What did Derek do to you?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
absolutely. A full page, full color ad in Diamonds, $2,600.
$2,600. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You got to sell a lot. You got to sell a ton of comics to justify $2,600.
Yes, you do.
And that kind of actually leads to the one I was going to bring up is whatever promotion that you do, whatever the particular book is that you're doing, how do you, the problem that I have, because I ramble on enough like I'm doing right now, how do you target the right people? Like you're saying, the $2,600 in a diamond catalog, I doubt that's even going to target the right people that you want to see who you're trying
that's
to.
A fairly broad audience ad buy that could be skipped because you just
exactly. Say that you're trying to sell 500 books. Let's just go on a low end. We always try to do way more than that. We try, but say you're just trying to do 500 books. How do you target those 500 people to buy your book?
Yeah.
How do you specifically target those people?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think if you're thinking about the Diamond catalog in particular, there's two audiences there. You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong. There's two audiences there, right? There's a comic retailer who gets that, and then there's your avid fan, right? Yeah. Your avid fan is the one who buys the catalog every month. Now your casual fan, that's a $6 catalog. They're not going to buy that. They're just going to.
Y'all, how many people when you were buying comics a lot? How many times? Who was getting the Diamond catalog? Who would get it every time and go through it and mark down what it is that you were wanting to get? I mean, I know I did.
I got one for free, so I mean, in my pool.
Yeah,
I would get the real hardcore fan did.
Yeah. I didn't get one until I really got to be interested in or serious about trying to work in the industry. And then that's when I said, I need to know what's out there. I need to know what these publishers are doing.
I think maybe this doesn't fit in with Tommy's thing, or maybe it does, but I think you got to figure out what your product is, what your audience is, and what problem are you solving for the reader? Because what need are you fulfilling? It's one thing if you say, oh, this is my dream project. I've been living with this thing for years and years and years. But if you look around and like nobody is interested in that kind of thing, is that an opportunity, or are you just going to waste your money? So you sort of got to figure out where your thing fits into the industry universe.
Yeah.
And how can you, because if you write a comic book about a guy who gets paid and wants to go buy a pizza, that's not really a comic book story. And that's not really, I mean, that may have been a true story that happened to you, and it may be a slice from your life, but that's not a thing that 2,500 people are going to buy. So like, I think we'll go, I'm going to pick on Mike again because this is fun for me. Like Mike's book fits in with the comic book universe, but nobody is doing a book like that.
Right.
but it fits with the book. I mean, if you're a superhero fan, if you're a fan of The Spirit, if you're a fan of Alex Toth, if you're a fan of Darwin Cook, I mean, the Man on the Mask is a perfect fit in comics, and it's different. Nobody else is doing a book like that,
Right. Yeah.
but it satisfies. It fills a need because there's a gap for where that kind of book can fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the unfortunateness of this is the thing. The negative of that. The other side of that is, yeah, they appreciate that, but they would buy it if I was working for the big two.
Right.
That's the harder sell because I'm not working for the big two. It's an original creation.
Mike, let me ask you this: do you think it's because? And please no, this is not a poke at you. You've known me long enough to know. Do you think it's because you can't produce a book a month?
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that, but it's also brand. I mean, I don't think the brand awareness as far as the big two is as much as it used to be.
I don't think so either.
We're not talking the 80s anymore.
Right.
But there still is this bias that some guys that would, when I used to try to target my age group, guys that are kind of disinterested in the big two, that kind of want that same thing we were getting when we were our teens, our 20s.
Right.
And they compliment me. They love when I do fan art, but they wouldn't buy a Man of the Mask issue I'd have to give it to them.
Right.
Well, I hate those
because
people.
they're just there's something there that it's still instilled in their head. Yeah, it's very much like this, but we would much rather you do this
from the big.
Well, I'll tell you one of the things. I found teaching comics is that our age demographic, I think, is very much like that, Mike. I think that there's still enough folks out there that are like, oh, well, if it's not made by Marvel or DC, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
However, what I see in my students in the I'm just going to say the 18 to say 30 demographic, right? They're like, yeah, we don't care about Marvel or DC. We've seen all the movies. Show me something different.
Right.
Yes.
That excites me.
That
excites me. Yeah, because they don't really care about Spider-Man. Yeah, they want to watch the multiverse because or the animated thing, right? Because that's really cool. I don't know why they're into the multiverse so much, but they are. But they don't really care. They don't care about the comics, right?
Oh heck no.
But when you're talking comics, they seem to be more open to independent comic books than the older demographic is. And I don't know how to explain that.
Well, that's where I think Mike's story about his comic comes into play, because Man on the Mask is from Mike's heart. It is from his background. It is from his history. It is from where he lives. And that, I think, interests the younger comic readers more than the Marvel and DC readers of our age.
Right. Yeah. Well,
because it's a very personal approach from Mike to the material.
And the other thing I like about it that Mike does is it's multi-generational, right? It's not just one guy. It's a mask that travels from father to son, the kind of thing, right?
Like you just spoiled the story.
Well, you know what? If they didn't know that, shame on them for not having read it.
Exactly.
That's right. Pop says networking and promotion, lots of both. Yeah. And part of the reason we do these streams, once a week, is to do what we can to join the video waves going out there to promote the stuff that we're working on. All right, folks swinging by our channel are going to see that beautiful art right there that Roberta is coloring. They're going to go, huh, what's that? And then hopefully they'll stop and listen to us a little bit.
And then Roland's TikTok dance will catch on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just twerking.
That's right. That's right.
Tutorial how to wipe your glasses.
Coming back to that.
That's right. Oh, we have to clip that. That'd be
Pop's ads. You have to appeal to the younger crowd if you want the next generation of comic fans. And I agree with that. I don't think that we can continue to target only us, our age demographic.
Right.
I mean, because go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Although I kind of did, I guess. If you if you don't have a lot of money,
He's like, I'm gonna interrupt. I'm sorry, but let me do it anyway.
I'm passive aggressive about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a ton of money and you still want to get the word out, what can you do? You're going to appear on everybody's different podcast. You can go to conventions, although that can get pricey unless you're sharing costs with somebody.
Yep.
And you can like what Mike has is a Substack.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can do that. I mean that's free, but also time consuming.
Yes.
But it also repurposes a lot of stuff that Mike is already creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what other ways can you reach? Where can you reach the kids without doing a TikTok dance?
Yeah. I mean that is a good question. What do you think?
Because I don't think, I mean, I love Diamond too, but Diamond, there's no proof for me that a $2,600 Diamond ad is going to move the needle on my sales.
Right.
It's good for exposure. It gets the word out, lets people possibly know what I'm doing, but it doesn't give me that return on my dollar.
No.
That I want. And $2,600 will go a long way to get me to different conventions.
And I'm not even convinced that $2,600 gets me return for the next year.
Right.
For a small press, I don't know that does $2,600, is it going to make a difference for me for the next year? I'm not convinced that's the case.
No.
Right.
It could look pretty, like, oh, look what we have in the Diamond catalog. But, I don't, we have Roberta. We don't need to buy an ad to look pretty.
Well, can I posit one thought on that?
Absolutely, please do.
So when I go to the comic store and the retailer is bored and flipping through the catalog, they'll push stuff randomly because they happen to like it and they're fans and whatever. So you have a good product and it's backed by something that they're going to get because it's in the catalog. You do have that extra little oomph, I think.
Yes.
And I do know that being friends with retailers and having a good product will also help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, if you're making a terrible product that's not interesting, the retailers will be the same way. But if you have something that fits in with the retailer's mindset and they happen to like you as a person and you come into their shop on a regular basis, they see you at cons or whatever, that also helps. So getting out and meeting, because the retailer is the buyer.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. And they will, because we talked about those hardcore fans getting the catalog. They will order the book that their fan says, "Hey, I want a copy of this." Right. But sometimes that's the only copy that they'll order.
Yes, because the retailer is not going to take a chance on something.
No.
Especially nowadays when they're ordering
too tight all around.
Their full list.
Yeah. Pop says maybe we need a couple of comic kids to promote kids comics on YouTube geared towards kids. I will think on this.
That would be a good YouTube channel for a couple of crazy kids to think up.
Yeah.
Check in with the new comics.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of comics. I think there's a lot of comics out there in existence already that I think younger readers would like. But part of the problem is how to get them to find it. And when you talk about retailers, it's like, okay, so one of the things that we at Silverline, one of the things, how do we get the retailer to be aware of us? Look, retailers are they're overworked, they're inundated with information. I have a retailer list that I use for the overwhelming majority of our releases. I've sent a link out to the PDF of the book that was in the catalog at that moment to say, hey, here's what you're gonna get if you back this comic. If you order this comic, here's what you're gonna get, right? Tommy and I, he gave me a tracker for one of them, and we were really disappointed in the numbers that actually went to see it. I reached out to a bunch of retailers that I know personally that said, hey, you and I have talked, we've known each other in the past, got this, I have this. Some of them responded positively. Some of them didn't respond at all. I had one say, hey, I don't really carry any new comics anymore.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, so many retailers have switched to that model. They're getting very basic new comics, like just Big Two, maybe from Image, and that's it. And it's something,
Well, you guys do know that the new Diamond catalog, and I know this because of Scott's shop in the 3 Alarm Comics.
Yeah, 3 Alarm and Biloxi.
It's all the ordering stuff that they do for the pull list is. There's still people that walk in with their list like we would do, but it's all online digital now, and the people just go through and they sign up with an account and they click, and then all of a sudden. Scott just gets a list at the end of the month saying this is what the people that were associated with your store has picked, and this is, do you want to add any extra? And Scott's like, well, there's some weird stuff that I probably wasn't going to work, but the person picked it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it's not like it was when we would turn in our little slips of paper saying this is what I want.
But does he order more for the store?
Generally not.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's the norm.
The system is geared for many reasons. I mean, you can't really blame the retailers or the distributors or whatever. It's just it's the way things have shaken out now. Is that people don't get an opportunity to know or order the new stuff because it's way too risky on everybody's side. It's too risky. It's too risky for
they can't afford to have all these extra books just sitting around.
The consumer can't take a risk on a new comic for $5, and the retailer can't risk stocking it for $5, and the distributor can't risk holding inventory, and and publishers can't risk holding inventory either.
No.
And so it's mind-numbing how you figure out how to break in through a system that has basically developed over time to keep new people out.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, the easy way is for the easier way is for somebody like Mike to have a run on Batman for 4 issues and then raise his profile and then steer some of those people over to his own stuff. But again, that's hard to do both for a publisher, both for Mike to sort of break in to get that assignment, and then because Mike has other work to do that in a timely fashion, and then for DC to sort of find Mike and say, hey, this is what we're thinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's always been tough to get work for Marvel and DC, and today is no option.
Well, and the thing
it's no different. I'm not
right. And the thing we never talk about is it's hard to get work at DC and Marvel. If you do break in and get work from DC and Marvel, it's hard to get the next work from DC and Marvel.
Yes.
Once you get in, it's hard to. I knew. I don't know if I should say his name or not, so I won't. But I knew an artist who had an opportunity to work for Marvel, and they were going to give him like a 6-issue run on a series or whatever, and he turned it down because he had a great full-time job with healthcare,
with benefits,
benefits and all kinds of stuff, and he said, after those 6 issues, I'm not guaranteed employment at Marvel, and I won't be able to go back to my old job.
Yeah,
and so I at the time I sort of got it, but I didn't really get it, and now I really get
it. Right? Yeah.
And that's kind of why you see artists and writers jumping around so much, because they've already, while they're working on the 2 or 3 issues they have been promised on this one, we're always scrounging around to do the next thing, because you're
It's tough as a freelancer because you've got to keep hustling. You've got to keep. Where's the next job coming from? You
always got one eye on that next job. You always got 50% of your time trying to figure out the next thing, because you can't afford, if you're dependent on your page rate as a freelancer, you can't have a gap.
Right.
No, and because you're a freelancer, if all of a sudden they said that you have 4 issues, they could go, no, it's 2. We're canceling that book. We're switching.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're like, well, you told me 4. Yeah. My next project's not going to start till 2 months after that. Yeah.
Pop says if you're in Diamond, you got to make sure your fans know what page number your books are on, so they can direct their local comic shop guy to order them.
Well,
This is
and
a
that assumes you're able to get a bunch of fans that you know.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
You got to build up that list.
And that leads me to my next thing is that when you do even what we do, right? How do you rise above the noise? All right. When I say noise, what I mean is all the internet stuff, right? Because we've got Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Threads and what am I missing?
LinkedIn.
TikTok.
LinkedIn, TikTok. We've got YouTube. All right, we're doing a YouTube stream, and we've got a bunch of folks watching us. Why you folks who are watching? Why are you watching us? Why are you watching us? What brought you to our channel, as opposed to maybe someone else? Right? Please feel free to leave comments. We'd really love to know. Yeah, we'd really love to know.
If you got some suggestions.
We love hearing from you. Yeah. Part of the question is what do we do to rise above the noise? Like Tom and I have is his show on right now? Tom and I have a buddy who streams, Aaron Lepresti, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Aaron's a great guy. I love.
Yeah, but we'd rather for you to watch us than Aaron.
Yeah.
yeah. We love Aaron, but yeah. We want you to watch us. So how do creators, how do we rise above to get folks to notice us and come to see us instead of some of the other people?
Well, that's the same argument for books. There's so much out there.
Right.
It's kind of a universal thing. There's so much material out there. There's so many podcasts now. There's so many, how do you rise? How do you get the attention on you that allows you to at least get your point across?
Yeah. And it's not easy, because anybody who's hung around Silverline for a while and watches, there's a lot of drama in the independent community, and that's not something we want to be a part of, right? It's just
What?
I know we want comics to be for everybody. I love some of the people on this side, some of the people on that side. But we don't need to be a part of that drama because it needs to be about the comics we're making and not the drama.
You lost me.
You had to bring in politics.
Yeah. Well,
No, not politics, drama. It's the drama.
but I think Pops has a thing where it says, the next plateau is Roku, that's a bigger distribution channel for the podcast. So that's a way. Yeah. That's not necessarily, oh my God, that's the answer, but that is part of the answer, which is a larger scale of distribution for one of the aspects of Silverline.
Hey, Charlie Stickney says, really great discussion of all the pitfalls smaller creators think. Thank you so much, Charlie, for swinging by. Charlie, of course, for those who may not know, he's a very good independent comic book creator as well. Thank you, Charlie, for swinging by.
We're talking about getting people to either the comic if it's in Diamond, we're trying to get the comic shop owner to order our books. So you got to get the guy, girl, whoever's running the store to know our product, right? There's one avenue, and then you have the whatever crowdfunding thing you're on, be it a GoFundMe or Fund My Comic or Kickstarter or whatever it is,
or Zoop or
and
whatever,
getting those people to come over there. So how do we get those people to come? Yeah.
Well,
how do you talk your comic shop guy into ordering your book, and then how do you get the more people to come to see your stuff over at Kickstarter?
Common I don't know, sort of common agreement amongst a lot of comic creators these days is to have, kind of like Mike has a Substack. This goes directly to his fan base. We have an email list, right? And everyone says build your email list, push people to your email list, because that way it's the direct connection between you and your supporters, your backers, your fans, those who want to know what you're doing. And of course we maintain our email list. We try to do stuff about every 2 weeks, but it usually ends up being about every 3 weeks.
So I had an interesting experience in San Diego.
All right.
Comic-Con that I think it sort of falls into this. I don't know how Silverline takes advantage of it. I don't know how anybody takes advantage of it because the guy already had an audience.
Yeah.
So I was at the Marriott has an outdoor cabana-like bar that everyone calls the tiki bar, but it's really called the tequila bar. And it's out there by the pool, and it's where everybody gathers. I know that in the morning before they open at 11, a lot of the comic book business people gather there in the mornings, like at 9 and 10 or whatever, to hold their meetings because it's really quiet and nobody's there and whatever. And I was sitting there doing some work, and a guy shows up at one of the a table for 4 next to me, and he starts spreading out all of his prints and stuff. And I don't know what's going on. So now I'm not working anymore. I'm pretending to work.
Yeah, you try to see this spectacle going on.
Like, the hell is this guy doing? And it turns out that he was either the guy or one of the guys who did the cartoony designs for the Deadpool credits in the movies.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
The little funny Deadpool cartoon character. And he has a huge Twitter following, and he didn't set up at the San Diego Comic-Con, but what he did is he told everybody, I'm going to be at the Cabana Bar at 10 o'clock on Friday at this table or whatever. Come by and meet me. I'll be there for like 2 hours. And I'll be selling prints and signing autographs or whatever.
my table set up is at the bar.
At the tiki bar.
Right. And
there are several bars like that where people go and they because they can't get in the show, they'll be set up around the convention.
Yeah. And so this guy, and he had like 30 people
really
descend on him over the course of the time that I was sitting there buying stuff, chatting with him, and he was talking to them like he ran a booth, even though it's a table at the bar.
Yeah.
You can put a display behind him and all that kind of stuff.
He's collecting money, and he's got his little Venmo thing on his phone, and he's got his card reader or whatever, and people are just,
the bar was okay with that?
Bar wasn't open yet. Bar didn't open until 11.
Okay. Yeah.
There's somebody there to police that.
Yeah.
And so he's raking in the cash, but he used his Twitter followers, who are going to be in San Diego, who are going to be at the con, but don't want to fight to get into the show yet. Come on by.
Charlie says that's a bigger space than either Artist Alley or Small Press.
It was
San Diego Comic. Yeah.
He had a table for 4. He didn't have any to sort of display stuff, and he was out there. And then when he's done, he can cash out his money and go to the bar.
Yeah, he just turned around. He's facing this way, and then he turns this way and orders something.
That's brilliant.
But I thought that's a brilliant use of what Madness says is that a brilliant use of word of mouth and using your followers. And it's not really a hard sell. It's just a thing of here's where I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to be selling. You want to meet? You want to talk? Because people who didn't buy stuff still wanted to talk to him.
So, Tom, this may be a question you don't want to answer, and if you don't, that's fine. But you've been to San Diego Comic-Con for many, many years now. You certainly went during Malibu's heyday. During the early 90s when there was so much money in comics, and you also went in the late 90s when there was no money in comics.
That's right.
Do you think it's worth someone like Silverline to pay all the money for a small press booth at San Diego Comic-Con?
I do not.
Okay.
That's a
why?
really tough thing.
Because you know a guy, Barry.
Yes.
And he can give you hard data.
Yes.
On cost versus return.
Yes.
And whether
we talked about that. Yeah.
Okay. And whether or not it's worthwhile. I don't think so.
I kind of wanted to for if you were willing to talk about it for you to say.
I think a lot.
I know we have people listening.
A lot depends on what your goal is.
That's what I was going to say. It's what you're going for.
Right.
Your
like
outcome.
If your goal, because for me, my goal would have to be like 10 different things.
Yeah.
Like I'd have to sell a ton of comics.
Yeah. Right.
I'd have to meet a bunch of people. I'd have to set up a lot of meetings in advance with fake Hollywood people who want to license my comics. And I'd want to do a panel. whether or not you could get this through the system or not, but basically meet the Silverline people, and here's all the people, you know, talking about Silverline to do that. And I'd want to have, you know, some kind of signing thing, and I'd want to have, you know, whatever. And so, but I don't think you don't make your money back, because the cost of the booth, the cost of the airfare, the cost of the hotel. I mean, the hotel is going to be like $1,500.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And the booth is going to be more than that, which is crazy. And it's basically more than a diamond ad for the whole weekend.
But that's what I was going to say. So pretend like you take that part away. Say you're
Which
not.
part?
You're not. Well, the money part. You're not. You're
Right.
not worried about whatever you make money wise by selling at the show.
Right.
Pretend like you're not worried about trying to pay for the show with what you make.
Right.
Would it be worth going then?
Hold on that thought. Whoops.
Right.
Charlie says small press is $650, but hotels are a huge expense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Say to go, it's going to cost you $4,000 to go from airfare to shipping the stuff to setting up to staying and eating. Say it's $4,000. $5,000. It's probably going to cost you more than that.
Right. Although I'll buy rolling dinner one night, so it'll be okay.
There you go. So say you're not worried about making the money back, but as far as people seeing your books and talking to folks and stuff, you think it'd be worth going then? That particular show.
I do.
Is enough people, or you think enough people will see your stuff that it's even worth going?
Yeah, because you're, again, if you take the money out of the equation, you're in a position where you're trying to grow your brand.
Right. You're growing the brand.
You're growing the brand.
You're not worried about the money.
And that's your cost. Your cost is I'm not going there to sell books. I'm not going there to make my money back. I'm not going there to profit. I'm going there to build my brand.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest place currently to try to build your brand and see if what you're doing is correct is the San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, because I think that's
Charlie. If
you brought up Barry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, you brought up Barry, and that's pretty much his thing. He just wants more people to see his books.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think because I mean Barry's big thing, like he's the Kablam guy, and he has comics or whatever, but he was really pushing his novels hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for him, I think that's what he really wanted to do, and he was also different from the other people who were in the small press area, which a lot of guys weren't selling novels.
Right.
So he was occupying a different space in that same lane, and if what Charlie Stickney says, I assume it's true because he's saying it. If it's $650, that's not a bad cost.
No.
And we know a guy who does the small press con, or the small press area of the con every year, and that's Randy Ronaldo.
Randy, yeah.
And he can give you hard numbers too, but he's got 25 issues of the same comic to sort of sell and a collection.
He's every time you go by his booth, he's busy.
And that's kind of his the new issue debut too, isn't it? It's like,
yes, it is. Yeah, he debuts it on preview night on Wednesday because that's when I get my copy.
Yeah.
And he's built a following, so people know to come by and like get the new issue.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he makes his money back. Because otherwise, I mean, but he also has a day gig like everybody else.
He does, yeah. So, and I think for me, something like San Diego Comic-Con, when I didn't realize $650 was a small press. I thought it was more like $1,500. You know, you add that, the hotel, the airfare, and then food, unless of course Tom buys me dinner. Getting the all the stuff there, then that's a lot of money.
It's $4,000.
Yeah. Bob says, rent an RV. You can bring your whole setup. Got a room on wheels. You can rent an RV for a week. Same cost as a one-night hotel.
I know where there's a good
park that thing.
I know where there's a great campground right on the trolley line.
Really?
Oh, really?
But,
yeah.
But even as funny and cool as that might be, you're not going to get the foot traffic that are going to San Diego Comic-Con, because if you're in the building, they're already going in there, right?
Right.
If you like this other guy had the Twitter following, well, he had a Twitter following, so they're going to seek him out.
Right. And he's a minor celebrity because of the Deadpool movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we if an RV or even someplace, off site, they would have to come specifically to see us. And I don't think.
Well, I think Tom was meaning that you could use that to get all your stuff there. You could stay in it. So essentially,
Yeah,
you're not
basically use
having to pay
the
for
RV
a
as
hotel.
your hotel.
Yeah.
You could just stay there, not
You
to-
could absolutely do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Tommy, we may have to look at that next year.
I know.
Tom. Let's do a
And then
road
just,
trip.
we could
Yeah.
bring all the stuff in it.
The key though, the key to doing San Diego though,
We'll
is
see it
especially
wherever
if you're
comes
a
to.
publisher or an artist or a writer, you got to set your meetings up way in advance.
Yeah.
It's like you know who's going to be there, and you want to meet people. Like your diamond guy is going to be at San Diego, so you want to meet with a diamond guy.
Yeah. Well, and then of course the other problem there is that if you're having meetings with these people, you're not at your table pushing your product.
Well, that's why you bring.
Right.
Well, that's why you have helpers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because somebody like me, I just wander around. If you put me in your booth for an hour, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Have a place to sit down. That's
You might not be happy, but I would be happy.
Tom to give away all of our stuff.
I'd say,
Here, try this book.
I could cosplay as Roland for an hour or two.
That's a $50 book. Oh, I told him it was a 5-finger discount today.
Yeah.
I said you wouldn't mind. It's a Southern thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
I think there are people that can help you out. There are people who, depending on who your neighbors are, whatever, you can. There are tons of ways to go.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people who will help you out. It's still expensive, right? Even if you could make a lot of these things happen. So that all boils back down to the challenge of a small press company, small press creator. Is $4,000 is a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And so let's just say, all right, well, and we're not going out there to make our money back. Do you have $4,000 to just promote? I don't.
I don't.
I don't have. I don't have that kind of money.
Guy that does. I don't.
Yeah. If I could say, okay, well, it's going to be $2,000 and we might, make 1,500. Well, then that gets it down to 500. That's still a lot of money for somebody like me, but that actually means that it's in my target, right? I'm like, okay, well,
right.
$500, I might be able to swing that. But
I think San Diego is a goal if you have the $4,000 to sort of piss around.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who would get $4,000 in their pocket and go,
no.
Oh yes, I know what I'm doing now.
I'm going to San
Diego. San Diego is my Vegas, baby. I'm out of here.
Pops' comment has already scrolled off over here, but one of the things that he mentioned is attending the smaller cons, and
I prefer.
I think that and so Tommy and I have traveled a lot to shows together where we travel together in a vehicle, right? We share a hotel room. We usually make sure that, hey, you're going to give us both a table. So Tommy has his table and I have my table. But, sharing the gas cost in the hotel room, it's a lot easier. Something that the way I look at it is, okay, I can afford that. Then we can split this,
Well, you can hook that deal up with a smaller show. You can't hook that deal up with San Diego.
Right. Yeah. San Diego's
San
not going to do
Diego
that.
goes.
Yeah. San Diego and New York, they don't.
Yeah,
just don't care.
I came real close to doing that 2 years ago with Dragon Con.
I messed it up, I think.
That's a good big show though.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it this weekend?
I think it's the end of the month, isn't it?
I don't know when it is.
It's usually the end of August, I think.
Okay, it's coming up then.
Okay, yeah. Katie Shaw says this is why local shows are key. We absolutely agree, Katie. And if you know any local shows that might want some Silverliners, Katie, please let us know.
Well, you've got isn't the South from like North Carolina through Texas like the king of the local show?
Pretty much, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Because
I think local shows, they're easier to get into, but you can't hit too many up in the same spot at the too close together because you just see the same people over and over. And, even though the people that are running the show want folks to come set up, even if they give you a free table and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When they realize that they just saw you at the show right down the block, they're liable not to ask.
What
you
about the Heroes Con is a good con to do, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed next year for me. Fingers crossed.
Right.
So
Shelton's listening.
I hope so. Shelton, if you're listening, next year.
I like
Never
Shelton. He
been
always
there.
remembers me for some reason. I'm always surprised. The few times that I did the show, he's like, "Hey, Thomas, how you doing?"
Hey,
and I'm like, "You remember
Shelton,
me? That's pretty cool."
Shelton was a supporter of Cat and Mouse back in the day.
Oh yeah,
he absolutely was.
Well, it's in his wheelhouse, so you would think.
Yeah. So so we're at hour 20. Mike, you got anything? I do have one other thing that I think I'd like to toss out as a roadblock. Mike, you have anything though?
Most of the stuff that I had in mind, I think we've really crossed. As far as just the stuff that just as far as what do you do to get your stuff out, and as far as just the frustrations of just being a small press guy, I think we've covered a lot of it. What have you got?
Yeah, Roberta, what about you? You have anything you want to add?
Well, I think along the lines of Mike's comments are just trying to really budget how fast you can work and how to fit it, and what to give up and what not to.
Yeah.
And how long your steam can run.
Yes.
And take advantage when you can of, a run of creative energy.
Yes. And of course, this is one of the reasons that, you guys know this because you know me, but this is one of the reasons that I push fun so much here with Silverline is you guys
I love that you do that.
Yeah, we need to be having fun, okay? Because if we're not having fun, there are other things that we could be doing, right?
Well, I think Roland, we've met some professional comic book people who are the most miserable people on the earth.
Yeah.
No names.
You're writing Spider-Man and you're drawing Batman or whatever. How can you be so unhappy?
I know, right?
What is wrong with you mentally?
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Tom or Tommy, anything else?
I think we went over bunches of.
No, I think
so.
I'm
my
interested in solutions. I would love to hear.
Oh man, I would love to hear a lot of solutions.
Some ideas.
My last thing that I think can be a roadblock is a little easier for someone like Mike, because Mike does it all, right? Mike is a one-man show. Someone like me, I need collaborators. I don't draw. Right.
I've seen your drawings.
Yeah. Even though if my mom is listening, she always says, Roland can draw. He drew all the time in high school. I'm like, yes, I did, Mom, but that's why I became a writer.
High school.
That's why I became a writer.
Yeah. I think finding collaborators can be, particularly if you're a writer, finding artists who who are willing to work for next to nothing, who can share maybe your vision, your dream of the kind of story that you want to tell. That's not always easy. Sometimes you'll talk to an artist and they're like, yeah, you're cool, man. I love you. I want to work with you. And you're like, great. I've written this big battle mech story. And then they get to draw it, and then they're 6 pages in. They're like, I really want to draw like My Little Pony. And you're like,
yeah,
why
didn't you tell me that?
I think that's the solution to that early on is you got to think smaller. Like, don't think multi-part, multi-generational epic when you're new and you're starting out with a new artist. It's like, no, let's just do maybe an anthology where I'll do 8-page stories and I'll get 3 different artists or whatever. And so it's just, you're never going to, I don't think you'll ever find an artist at a beginner stage of your career and their career where it's like, they're going to be heavily vested in your 4 or 6 issue maxi series. I just don't.
Yeah, it's tough.
It takes too much time. There's not enough money involved. People get bored. They get onto other things.
I mean, Tommy sticks around because he's known me for 30 years, and he's like, yeah, I got nothing else to do.
Right.
What do you mean? I got stuff to do.
Roberta hangs around because she's like, yeah, okay, Roland, I like you. You're cool. Let's do this.
Mhm. But I got to fit it.
I'm
in
just
and
building my
around
brand.
tons
That's
of
why I'm
things.
hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, because you guys know I teach creative writing, and one of the things I tell the writing students is like, look, there has never been an easier time to make an independent comic than today, because of all the technology, because of the resources that we have. But the single hardest thing for a writer to do is to find an artist to work with.
Well, and the second hardest is to find a way to make it pay.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's never been easier to make a comic. It's never been easier to put it on the internet. It's never been easier to presumably attract a live audience.
Yep.
It's really hard to make that pay off for you in a way that makes money.
Yeah, because even if you've got a bunch of folks that are capable of making the books, it's like I've got to pay my bills. I can't just stop doing work to
Yeah.
Right. I can't put everything off and do your thing right now.
Right.
Yeah. So
because
money, that stinks. Why can't we go to Star Trek kind of thing?
And that all boils back down to money, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And it's not that everybody's greedy either. It's just
people aren't asking too much money for writers or artists or whatever. It's just like, but people do need to eat.
Yeah. The mortgage is still got to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, if you have a partner, if you're married or in a relationship, whatever, that partner is going to want to see some progress.
They sure do.
Yep.
You can skate for a while with your dream, but
one of the things I like to show is this wall back here, right? It's like, look, this is what we've done the last couple of years.
Looks good, right?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. All right. Anything else, you guys, before we call it a night?
Another great topic. I really enjoyed it.
Great job, Mike.
The people that ordered Kalis number 4.
You're talking about through Diamond. Yeah.
So that's at the printer, so that should be worked on this week. So those guys should start seeing that rolling in your comic shop near you shortly.
And Divinity 4.
Divinity 4. Divinity 4 is funded. So thank all of you.
Numbers should be coming in now, so we should be able to start rolling on getting that printed. What's the next Kickstarter going to be?
Not 100% sure yet. I have to spend some time and inventory the files.
See what's done.
Yeah, see what's done. There's a couple of them. I think we could be this one, or this one. But I need to kind of take inventory and stock and see where we are.
Because we're going to continue just doing the single issue crowdfunder thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the better way to go. One issue, one at a time. At least you can
concentrate on it a little more.
Yeah, and that way the creators of those things can jump on and try to make it happen, and hopefully all of Silverline will then share that out. I think that's probably the flip books were fun when we first did it, but I think the sentimental aspect of it kind of went away after about the 4th or 5th one.
Well, when we started mixing genres, it seemed like it was cool at first, but then when you get something that just doesn't match anything close to the other side, it's like, I don't want the book if it's got that.
Right, I don't want the other book. Yeah, I only had 2 people ever tell me that. But
was I one of the people?
No, no. Go ahead.
Isn't Twilight Grim somewhere?
Twilight Grim is in the catalog right now.
Yeah, it's that Diamond.
Yep, it is in the most recent or the current Diamond catalog. So go tell your retailers, your local retailers. Katie, if you're still out there listening, tell your local retailer in Northern California. She said she was in Northern California to order Twilight Grim. We've sent press releases out. The only place I've seen it run so far is at First Comic News. Rick over there is very good about supporting Silverline. But hopefully we'll see it popping up in some of the other news outlets as well. And of course, then I'm gonna do the usual. Make sure I hit up all the retailers on my retailer list and say, hey, here's what's available. That kind of thing. Katie says can do. Thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight too, Katie.
And make a large group of friends.
Make a large group of friends. Okay, so anything else?
What's happening Tuesday? What's happening Wednesday?
All right. On Tuesday, don't forget to hang out with that Silverline show on Tuesday when they're going to talk about how to build discipline. The gang discuss how comic creators can build discipline and how that is the key to finishing your comic. That's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Pacific time.
That's a hard thing to do sometimes.
It is. And then on Wednesday, the Whammers are going to talk about My Muse Eloped. What to do when you've hit a creative block. Now, this is Wednesday. This is Wednesday at 8 p.m. I promise you, I did not know this was the title when I came up with next Sunday's title for us. But next Sunday, no such thing as writer's block.
No such thing.
Oh yeah, we're telling those Wednesday guys they stink. You guys don't know what you're making it up.
I would die on that.
Want to work, so they should go back to what the Tuesday people are doing to get rid of the Wednesday people, but then turn around and come back to Sunday because they all kind of blend together. Yeah. So there's a whole tutorial on how to do comics.
How to work around blocks in your story. Roland contends there's no such, and Roland and Tom both contend there's no such thing as writer's block, but there can be obstacles to completing your story.
Yes. Yeah.
The crew will discuss strategies to overcome those storytelling complications. So, all right. Well, it has been fun. Roberta, Paige is looking awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are wondering what this is going to be called Cat and Mouse Vipers. This is the first issue that Roberta is working on. And as soon as she is done, we are going to get that into your hands, and you are going to absolutely love it. So let's see. So, all right. Well, you guys know what time it is.
Yes.
Until next time, remember to make mine
Silverline.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Hey, I'm G-Rod. Make mine Silverline. You heard me.